begins. Uh, so, if you were here before, you might notice that everything around me looks a little bit different. Uh, we finally got my basement all set up. Uh, by set up, I mean remodeled. There's no furniture or anything here, so it is echoey as fuck. The only thing down here is my computer, because I am pretty sure that my wife wanted me to quit fucking sharing her office with her, so that she could have some goddamn peace and quiet by herself. So now I have this lovely place here. Obviously, I don't have any of my secondary lighting or anything, so my uh, the light we put up here is really bright, and I haven't quite gotten it tuned for streaming here. I just look like a sweaty asshole in here. Anyway, welcome to my stream. In case you haven't seen me before, this is the fourth night day that I am playing Torment Tides of Numenera by In Exile Productions, In Exile Studios, something In Exile, something. Anyway, yeah, this is a crazy game with lots of weirdness going on, and it's mostly driven by dialogue. And I am a big jerk, so I am definitely going to be spending an awful lot of time reading text and doing stupid voices and possibly making fun of what's going on. But more importantly than that, I do like to point out like interesting or good like game design decisions that they've put in here. So hopefully it's not just going to be like, you know, your normal internet snarkiness. There will be some informativeness, informery. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm not even drunk right now. All right, let me switch over, and we will get back into the game. Oh, look, there we are. There we are. All right. So let's continue on with the journey of the Last Castoff. That's my character, by the way. I didn't name him. That's the name he came with. Uh, I didn't pick that. I'm not sure I would have named my dude the Last Castoff if it were up to me, but it's not. Not in this game. Nope. Um, I don't know how much it bears repeating or not. Uh, this game is, in a lot of ways, the sort of the spiritual successor of Planescape Torment, which was a fantastic game from I think 1999. I mentioned this last night when I was streaming, so if you've already listened to my bullshit from last night, then I'm sorry for the repeating. But you never know who's coming in and going to be watching. In any case, so far the setup is that my dude is an incarnation of some god who just like drops bodies like they were nothing. And by dropping bodies, I don't mean murdering people. I mean literally inhabiting a body and then getting a new body and dropping the last one. So yeah, he like this god drops uh, drops incarnations like Trump drops chiefs of staff. Anyway, let's take a look, as we always should in this style of game. First thing, with our journal to see what we're going to be doing. This, of course, is where we have quests and all of that kind of bullshit. Right now, my primary quest here Fallen to Earth, I miraculously survived a fall from many kilometers above the Earth's surface, only to find myself in another unexpected situation. My only hope of stopping the sorrow, capital S, sorrow, the creature that hunts me, is to climb inside the crystal resonance chamber and activate the device. Unfortunately, the resonance chamber was badly damaged by my fall, so it'll need to be fixed. So that's the sort of main objective. I only have one side quest, and that's to find a book that a previous incarnation borrowed, and by borrowed I mean totally stole from somebody, and bring it back. I think that same side quest showed up. Maybe not specifically that one, but something very similar showed up in Planescape Torment, which is pretty great. Alright, the two people who found me have conflicting opinions about where I should go. This is what I'm supposed to be, or this is the log of what's happened in relation to this quest here. Allegorn suggested I go speak with the cultists of the Changing God, whose incarnation I am or was, while Callistegi directed me to the Order of Truth. Dude bolted, because I went with Callistegi here. And so, Order of Truth it is. I learned that the cultists are in the encamped around a great clock in Circus Minor. That's part of like the town that I'm in right now. While the Order of Truth is located in Government Square, which is where I am right now in the game. If we take a look at the map here, we can see they just got a door to the Order of Truth. Luckily, I don't have to go and, like, track them down or anything. I just walk through the door and solve the quest, right? Like, that's gonna be it. 4 games in, and I'm just, no, that's not how this works at all. I don't know if I've walked into a library, oh, now that we're here, speak to Min. He leads this chapter of the Order of Truth, though perhaps leads is too strong a term. I hope you'll excuse me slurping water down while I do this. So let's take a look at what we got in here. We got some NPCs. Salamari, Uro? Is that a Q? Koro. Snurf. Min of Tanliang. Lots of things to touch and to look at. I believe this guy I actually got into a fight with a couple of streams ago. Is that how I'm going to track time now? Is I'm going to be like, oh, 3 streams ago this happened. No, earlier I had gotten in a fight with a dude. Alright. Absolutely. Alright. There's so much glowy shit in here. It's awesome. This machine is a chaotic assemblage of metal tanks and tubing. A work table mounted with spare parts stands beside it, and is connected by wires to an oddly familiar sarcophagus and other devices. Let me examine the machine. As it turns out, there is very little to examine. Every access point to the machine has been carefully sealed. Some of the hatches and panels are worn with use. They are likely accessed by the Order when they perform maintenance on the machine. Others are gleaming, ornate locks with twisted keyholes, unmarred by the scratches and nicks of careless everyday use. You run your hands across its surface and feel the ghost of another person's hands doing the same. So these dialogue options are when a particular skill or ability that you have is relevant to some element of the game. And I should say that, like, almost more so than any other of these isometric, like three quarter view RPGs that I've played, this game very much relies heavily on the dialogue trees. And in fact, they've got a system which I'm sure will pop up at least once during this session, uh, where there's actually a. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. They call this. I think they call this a crisis, which is a decision point where you have a chance of failure. In this case, uh, by like right now, by itself, I have a 45% chance of fail or of success here. Uh, these points are a pool of my intellect, I think, pool, which kind of covers social interactions, that sort of thing, or figuring things out. The more that you spend from that pool, the higher your odds of success are. Uh, so it's almost like you have four different pools of hit points to deal with in this game, and three of them are effectively a bidding mechanism to see like how much you're willing to put in. All right, success. The memory opens like a gaping mouth and closes around you. Hot wind pulls at your robes, jagged great claws at your eyes. Squinting through the storm, you see the machine half buried in the sand. Curiously, you wedge open a panel. Inside, a sphere sparkling like a jewel, but soft to the, I'm assuming, touch? Life drains from you into the sphere like blood from a wound. The machine is stealing your life. Growling, you return the favor, ripping the sphere from the machine and regarding it with cold eyes. The memory releases you abruptly, leaving you panting in front of the machine, which is not the ruined monstrosity your predecessor discovered in the Archipelagian ruins. You know, however, that the orb is sealed somewhere inside this device. I'm going to leave the machine alone. I don't want my life stolen. That's no good. Alright. So, Kalistegi told me I should talk to Min. Min's right here. May as well have a conversation with Min. Let's see what we got. Min of Tan Liang. This priest is tall, thin, and dressed only in black. Narrow slashes of oil decorate his unlined skin like letters in an unknown tongue. His eyes are harried, but alive with intelligent humor. They land on you with a tiny flicker of recognition. Uh-oh. He's seen another me. Then his gaze moves from you to your companion. Hello, Kalistegi. Here to work or just visit? Just a bit of business. Have you ever heard anything about a resonance chamber, Min? We're looking for a way to repair one. I don't, female voices are hard for guys to do. All that I've ever figured out how to do is just to, try and soften everything to give the impression that it's feminine. Unless there's some reason not to, but I don't really know. Incidentally, yes, I am, starting to look into getting into voice acting, which I'm sure somebody will watch this and tell me, dear God, no, don't do what you're doing now. But yeah, let's. I'll pretend like I know what I'm doing for now. Your what? Min gasps. I thought that that thing was a myth. You're trying to repair it. Where is it? I'd rather not say. Ah, he says, his mouth twisting. Probably wise. Anyway, do you have any piece of the machine with you? No, I don't. Clearly I don't have a lot of options here. What a shame. In all honesty, I focus more on traditionally powered machines. Salameri has some experience with organic machine construction. You might ask her about it. Tell me about that machine behind you. The one that steals your life. It makes levies, the guardians of Segus. He rubs his chin. Our records say that man, fantasy game, fucking proper nouns. That's the worst. Diviatiku. Our records say that Diviatiku found a similar device in the ruins of Archipelagia far to the north. He convinced the city that a local version, a modified one, would be of use. In order to become a citizen, everyone in Sega's Cliffs, even the ones born here, gives a year of their lives to the machine. It uses that borrowed time to create a levy. That seems fair. It's an elegant way to serve. No one should be forced to give up their lives. What if someone only has 1 year to live? Would they die the second they entered the machine? Boom! No, he frowns. They never die in the machine, but it catches up with them a few days later. That doesn't happen very often. Sometimes, I think the machine actually saves them, prevents them from meeting whatever fate was in store, but not always. So, in some cases, when you choose a dialogue option, it will give you these notifications: gold tide raised by a tiny amount, blue tide raised by a tiny amount. The tides are this game's alignment system. There's several different colors, and figuring them out is kind of part of the game. I actually kind of like going into it blind and just making the decisions that I think are the most interesting in the moment. I'm kind of a goody two shoes, so my characters tend to kind of be goody two shoes when we do that. But in any case, as you make these decisions, it says gold tide raised by a tiny amount, blue tide raised by a tiny amount. So there's clearly in the background these very different, almost like faction counters going on, kind of in the background, that it's giving you this incomplete information about to sort of guide you to what what kind of character you are playing in this game, like what your moral outlook is. At any rate, the levies created by the machine are nearly identical, and they only last a year. After that, they quietly return to the machine and dissolve into... His hands grip the air, trying to frame words. Grey gunk. It's incredibly unpleasant to watch, but they don't seem to mind. Fascinating. It is, and nothing is wasted. We just use the same gunk for the next levy. He frowns. Good thing, too. I have no idea how to make more gunk. Anyway, that's the machine. Any other questions? Let's talk about something else. Happy to, he says. What is it? Can you tell me about your work? He says, shaking his head. That's a big question, even on the best of days. I specialize in mechanical Numenera, intelligent or not, but I haven't had much time for research since I started managing our branch of the Order. Can I ask you some questions about mechanical Numenera? Lore point. Numenera are the... So, trying to explain this is some bullshit right up in here. Incidentally, I'm going to about 11 o'clock tonight, maybe a little past because I started a little bit late. Been going for about 20 minutes on this stream, so 40 minute-ish more, and we'll be out. Anyway, so this world is, the setting of Torment is a world where it's like the fantasy world has sort of taken overtaken the planet, and there's all this sort of precursor technology laying around. So there's like computers and machines and robots and weird shit that nobody actually understands anymore. Uh, these crazy things they call Numenera, and they're uh, basically basically magic at this point, right? It's the any sufficiently advanced piece of technology is indistinguishable from magic to the nth degree. What is? Oh wait, can I ask you some questions about mechanical Numenera? Let's find out. I would be incredibly grateful if you did, he says. Every other conversation I have revolves around how I'm ruining the Order, or not doing enough to save the Order. He rubs his forehead with the back of his calloused hand. Please, ask me about wires and blinking lights. Let's talk about something else. Bink. Happy to, he says. What is it? Oh, that's the generic. What is the Order of Truth? Good question. He chews his lip for a moment, framing his words. We live on the surface of a vast labyrinth of layered ruins, packed with relics and artifacts, windows into the past. Some people are content to find them, use them, and sell them. He grins, but not the Order of Truth, not the Aeon Priests. We want to understand the Numenera, study them, point at them, and argue about them. Now, in the West, the Order of Truth is much bigger than this little enclave. It's a vast organization led by the Amber Pope. Out there, our words turn the heads of kings. Shrugs. Around here, we occasionally get discounts on equipment from local vendors and a free cup of tea. Not that I'm complaining. How did a chapter of the Order of Truth end up out here? It was founded 300 years ago by a Varyelan... by a Varyelan nunno named Diviatiku. That's his statue outside. He governed, or you could say ruled, the Order with more force than you see in traditional chapters. He set us up in this spire, handpicked new members, and chose them for particular projects of his design. We're not quite that organized these days, he says, shrugging. For better or worse, leaders are chosen by the consent of the other priests and priestesses, and they don't have a say in what everyone works on. They just deal with the politics and the paperwork so that everyone else can focus on their ruinous side projects and hideously dangerous experiments. Flashes a grin, which is to say, I'm the leader because I'm the only one who admits we need to eat. So here's my options. You sound awfully dismissive of your colleagues' work. Leadership is a lonely path. Really, though, is food so much more important than knowledge? Ooh, that's me right there. Funny thing, he says. An Aeon priest can work for 12 hours and forget the pastry on the plate next to them until the aunts carry it away. But if we can't buy food, everyone gets an appetite at once. He sighs, and we don't make money unless the people outside these walls are happy. And that raised my blue tide, okay. The slave families, for some reason, aren't interested in funding wild, endless experimentation. They like results, especially weaponizable ones. So I review their requests, deflect their crazier ones, and convince my colleagues to work for a living occasionally. He nods at the nearby machine. We also create the levies that guard the city, though that's seen more as a responsibility than a favor these days. Yeah, you should refuse. Follow your own interest and the funding will follow. Yeah, I am so not rolling down the Ayn Rand path at all. What are the levies? The Segas' version of a city watch. You may have seen them around. He plasters on a wide, fake grin and points at it. They wear armor and look like this. You can't miss them. I look like what? I don't... One of the... I don't... Is that a big pile of poop over there? I don't know what he's talking about. It's a shame the Order has to earn its keep in this city. There we go. Silvertide raised a tiny amount. Don't know what that is. Well, it has its ups and downs, he says, shrugging. Some of our people could use some grounding. He scratches his head absently. What else do you want to know about the Order? Let's see. How long have you been in this spire? Well, it's not actually a building, first of all, he says, grinning, and neither is Council Tower. We take a closer look when you get a chance. They're ships. We think they were used to explore the void between the stars long before Sagas was founded. He rubs his chin. They may be millions of years old, in fact. Now, of course, they're almost completely sealed in rock. The only other parts you can see up close are the engines, down in the underbelly. The city uses them as forge fires and energy sources. He raises a finger. Actually, that's not the only part. We use some of the lower decks for storage, but you can't see those. He makes a serious face. Very secret. Let's see, are there a lot of Aeon priests in the Sagas Cliffs? Yes, but they're not strictly here, he says. Some are out on digs or various expeditions. We only have a few Aeon priests in the city right now. There's Salameri, who I mentioned before. Beliazar studies biochemical life forms. Orthfong is an expert in inexplicable and malicious architecture and should be back soon. He pauses, ticking his fingers and furrowing his brow. Side quest! And Snurf, of course. A visitant who's developed an interest in all forms of reproduction. It isn't one of us, and I don't think it wants to be, but we gave it space to work on its, projects. He leans in. Don't go over there unless you've invented a way to scrub your memory clean. I feel like somebody already invented that for me. Also, Lian Yuring, of course, he's been educated in the Order, but he's still looking for a discovery that will make him an Aeon priest. Let's talk about something else. Is there anything else that he can talk to me about? Nope. I'm out. Snurf. What we got? Salameri, Koro. Let's talk to... do I want to talk to Salameri? I have a feeling it's going to start a fight. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to talk to Snurf. Snurf. Slouched before you is a figure clad in a dusty, unremarkable robe. Loose folds of rough cloth shift to reveal a vaguely humanoid form with elongated facial features and two elaborate biomechanical arms. You can't help but notice the size, the shape, and even the number of its digits changing as it tinkers with a bizarre-looking device on the table. It glances up at you. Its eyes are the size of your palms. You realize it is a visitant, a being from another world. Greetings, fellow sentient, it says, nodding with studied respect. I will be with you in a moment. Its mechanical fingers contract and dance independently over the surface of the device before it, adjusting and tightening. There. I am Snurf, guest of the Order of Truth. What brings you to my workplace? Didn't quite catch your name. How do you pronounce it again? Ah, it says, you are hearing a brief Elysian in my name, correct? A majority of the component syllables are untranslatable or beyond human ranges of hearing. I will try to approximate them. It draws in a deep breath. I'm not even going to try and say it. Yes, I am. Who the fuck am I kidding? Snailnaga. Snellanaga with a brief poem about the ambient temperature of dust and moonlight here. Gonthus, the word that describes a color similar to blue Ramalurf. It shrugs. I prefer the name your people here. My name is all too common where I come from. Tell me about yourself. This is going to be long and tedious. Your curiosity honors me, it says, inclining its head. I came through the bloom from another world. To be absolutely honest, I was exiled for inadvertent sacrilege and perversion. Awesome. If you're gonna get exiled, sacrilege and perversion are the way to go. I would imagine that you are curious about my people's reproductive processes at this point. It adds placidly. I would happily describe them. I wasn't, but that sounds like an interesting topic. What? The more detail, the better. No, please don't. What? I misunderstood. I cataloged the reproductive processes of various known life forms, and I often assume that others find the topic as fascinating as I do. It is a rather complicated topic, however, so let me know when you're ready to speak at length. Where are you from again? Another world, it says. I do miss it sometimes, but I cannot return, as I said. Oh, God. I'm ready to hear about your people's methods of procreation. If I have to suffer through this, I'm putting it on the internet. Deprived of the layers of sociological complexity, the process is quite simple, the visitant says. At a certain age, my people ceremonially choose a limb for removal. The limb is grown into a new being. Children, in your terminology. It sighs. This is where matters get more complicated. The selected part relegates the child to a caste. Arm children become laborers, leg children become warriors, and head children, due to the sacrifice implied in their creation, become leaders. Snurf studies its metal hands. As I've suggested, the limbs we surrender do not grow back. In fact, those who replace their limbs insult their children and sin against their people. I'm not going to say anything. The visitant stares into the air. It blinks once, delicately, before continuing. I surrendered my arms to create my children, it says. They grew to maturity and joined me in my study of various void-born Numenera. For a time, we were happy. It lowers its eyes. Then I discovered a melted humanoid figurine. I did no more than glance at its folded arms before it opened its eyes. That is the last thing I remember. I awoke with the arms you see now. Snurf sighs. My children, thinking I had disowned them, disowned me, and my people were even less merciful. That sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you. And you know what? I genuinely am. That's a fucked up story right there. Your sympathy is appreciated, but not warranted, the visitant says, though it is avoiding your eyes. I have found other ways to take my mind off the loss of my family and my people since. That bumped up my gold tide by a small amount. I assume that tiny is less, or small is more than tiny. I don't know. It was only when I began visiting other worlds that I learned that most species do not reproduce by severing their limbs, Snurf says, shaking its head. The discovery fascinated me, and so I began cataloging the various methods of procreation found throughout the void. It was only when I found my way to Sega's cliffs by way of the bloom, that I was offered a place to work here in the Order of Truth. And there you have it, the visitant says, folding its mechanical arms. Do I want to talk about more reproductive processes? Yes. Calarials. Colorales? Colorales. Though they are brutal creatures formed from organic and inorganic substances, they do share certain characteristics with my people. They do not have genders and reproduce by expelling an organic mass deep into moist, fertile soil. The mass eventually grows into an autonomous being. You ever make it within the vagin? Asked Tabir. I think you've misunderstood, Snurf says severely. I don't engage in intercourse with the various creatures I study. I did once, Tabir continues airily, as if Snurf hadn't replied. At least I think I did. Both of us were very drunk. What is that device you're working on? A minor project of mine, it says with self-deprecating wave. Something to widen the boundaries of my research. It scans for unknown reproductive processes and displays them for further study. The device clicks to itself. Ah, Snurf says, watch. A transparent of two goat-headed humanoids appears over the device. At first, it seems they are wrestling each other. After a moment, you realize your mistake. Copulating Marger. Fascinating. The visitant begins taking careful angular notes in an unfamiliar language on the scroll beside the device. You are going to be rich. What? No, the visitant says. The device itself will not be for sale. I'm writing a book, however. Yep. Nope, I'm out. Done. Done with that. I'm going to go on for almost an hour, and I'm just going to talk to people about different species and their banging. Lan Yuring? The thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice a small metallic ovoid protruding from his skull, nearly hidden by his disheveled hair. The fingers of his left hand tap nervously on his leg as he speaks. I'm not a real priest yet, he blurts, then blushes. If that's what you were thinking, usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I'm still a novice. He plucks at a threadbare spot on its robes. What's your area of study? What? He says, blinking, straightening. You want to know what I'm working on? Are you sure? No, but go ahead. Absolutely. I'm designing an intelligence, he says, but not the normal kind, not just metal or with a dependent intelligence rigging system. No, it's larger than that, stronger. Lan himself seems to be getting stronger, rising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed before, but he's actually taller than you. The idea is this, an intelligence that can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. We can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations. His eyes are gleaming now, and he raises a trembling fist. Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past, and turn them into reins with which to steer the future. That would be useful. No one would get hurt testing Numenera on themselves anymore. Oh, he says, dropping his righteous fist. Clearly, this benefit had never occurred to him. Of course. The fervent gleam in his eyes slowly... The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eyes. It's only a theory now, though, for now. I don't have the funding, not yet. But I've been studying machines with Min when he can spare the time, and he likes my ideas, even if he thinks they're impossible. He looks away. I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Aeon priest yet. Impossible seems harsh. And inaccurate, he says, regaining some of his lost fervor. Once I'm an Aeon priest, everything will change. Only full Aeon priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Men might protest, but he'll understand once I get the design right. He licks his lips. They're dry, almost leathery. I just need to get it right, that's all. What do you need to do to become an Aeon priest? You have to make a major discovery, he says. A mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time. But I've spent too much time on my own research. He looks down at his feet. I haven't gotten anywhere. I'll tell you about something I've discovered. You can claim it as your own and become an Aeon priest. Ooh. You will? He says, blood draining from his face. Is that allowed? Do you want to join the Order or not? You're devoted to research. Look at this as an interested colleague supporting your studies. No, but who cares? You still win? Probably not. Never mind. Apparently that's me right there. He flushes so deeply that it's a wonder his clothes don't burst into flames. Thank you, he whispers. I'm ready. What discoveries have you made? What sort of discoveries will help you? Really major ones, he says, looking frustrated. The causes of long-standing problems in the city, for example, or solving a mystery that's remained unexplained for a long, long time. When I find something useful, I'll let you know. Oh, he says, all right. Is that implant on your forehead? It's not just on my forehead, he says. Not just the skin, I mean, it's bonded with my skull. He blinks at you a few times before you realize he hasn't answered your question. It keeps me awake and alert. I don't get tired until it runs out of power. What powers it? Dreams, he says. The scarier ones, the better. Alright, fuck that. I'm out. Alright, so my dominant tide changed twice? Let's see what that actually means. So this tells me, whatever color this is glowing tells you kind of what the dominant tide is. Right now my dominant tide is blue. The blue tide represents wisdom, reason, and enlightenment. People attuned to this tide seek information and the preservation of knowledge in all forms, whether scientific or spiritual. Scholars, teachers, guides, and mystics are often attuned to this tide. I don't know what mechanical benefit that actually has. I don't know if it's just something to kind of tell you as the player what it is like, how you're playing the game, which is a totally legit thing to do, or if maybe having those tides, like different tides dominate, will actually open up different dialogue options, but not actually tell you that they do that, which would be amazing. Like, that is a really interesting design choice. If that's the way it's done, I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I'm playing this game blind. You know literally as much as I do right now, or possibly more, if you've gotten any farther in this game than I have. Let's continue. Wander around. This is the person I need to talk to, Salamari. Salamari, you recognize one of the parties in this one-sided argument, Koro, the Star Seeker you met in the reef. Studies his boots, silent and miserable. This guy, I ran into. Excuse me. I'm an old man and it's getting late. I ran into this guy early in the game, and basically convinced him to not try and steal me. So I imagine that That could cause me problems later on. Sorry. You recognize one of the parties in this one-sided argument, Koro, the Starseeker you met in the reef. He studies his boots, silent and miserable. The other is a tall woman in finely cut robes, regarding the man with arch disdain. When I told you to retrieve the falling star, I wonder if you had heard, return to me with empty hands and excuses. She sighs. I no longer need your services, Koro. Collect your things and go. What? No, Salameri, I searched the reef for hours. Whatever fell was long gone by the time we got there. And that is why you are unsuited for this work. She massages her eyes. Honestly, I don't know what I expected. I saw promise in you, but also the flaws. Ignored them. She spots you out of the corner of her eye and turns to you, framing a sharp rebuke at your intrusion. Her anger turns to stark amazement when she sees your face. Dawn! Apparently that's me? I haven't seen you in 10 years. 10 years. I cannot begin to imagine what your excuse might be. I am not Dawn? I can lie and say, I meet a lot of people. Can you remind me how we know each other? If you want an apology from me, you'll be waiting a long time. Or I became aware of a plot against my life and had to flee the city. I'm just... okay, so... let's take a look at these here. So right now, I'm full up on health, might. I'm a little low on speed, one down. My intellect, which covers most of the social interactions, like lying or persuading, is down at 2, which means that it's pretty risky for me to do any of these lies. I'm just gonna tell her the truth. I don't know who that dude is. She blinks once, twice. A smile blooms. You're a Castoff, she murmurs, studying you from head to foot with an appraising and somewhat proprietary eye. Remarkable. This is rather like visiting a house you once owned and seeing new tenants through the windows. I've met members of your little family before, of course, trailing around in that shadow, looking for clues or trying to repair the damage. Her smile is genuine and somewhat sad. Her eyes linger on yours as if looking for any flash of recognition. I can help you, if you like, but I need something from you first. That sounds interesting. I'm not going to agree to anything without more information. Oh, she says, rolling her eyes. Reason, lovely. Well, think it over, she grins wolfishly, and tell me when you're ready to help. I have some questions about the changing god. Good, she says. Curiosity about your origin is quite healthy. Her expression hardens. I will be happy to share what I know once you've completed that favor for me. Trying to repair something called a resonance chamber. Ah, that contraption, she says. I'd be delighted to help, as I was before, but I'll need you to do that little favor for me first. Enter the anechoic lazaret. I don't... Anechoic means it doesn't echo, but Jesus. And make it safe for me to resume my work there. She lowers her voice. If you seek assistance from the others in the order, do be careful. I suspect one of them is an informant for the Memovira. Too many of our finds have been pillaged by her thugs. Who or what is the Memovira? The simple definition would be a crime lord in the bloom. She is quite a bit more than that. In all ways that matter, she rules that tangled cesspit, and her spies are everywhere. This is pretty much leading me down to, if you want to continue on this game, you have to pick this option right here, uh, which is understandable in a game that depends so much on conversation trees to push you forward, but is also a little frustrating because they present you with choices that are only illusions of choices. Hold on, you think there's a spy in the Order of Truth? Almost certainly, she says, losing interest. But I let Min worry about that. Spies aren't a problem if you never share your secrets. Alright, let's talk about the favor. Get it over with. Of course. She draws your attention to a map of the Reef of Fallen Worlds on her workstation and taps a gilded, ornate structure not far from the dome containing the resonance chamber. This is the anechoic lazaret. It has been hopelessly sealed since the dawn of the ninth world until, she smiles, I managed it in a week or two. It was quite simple once you figured out the trick. I've been slipping in and out at nights, investigating the technology within, taking notes. She frowns. Then, more recently, I discovered that the structure was sealed again. Do you think one of your colleagues is responsible? I'm going to remain silent. I believe someone tramped inside with no regard for the dangers and managed to trigger a failsafe that resealed the structure. She flicks a strand of hair from her eyes. I need someone to reopen the lazaret and, she waves a vague hand, handle whatever nonsense the trespassers have stirred up in their wake. Why not send Koro? I suppose I could do that, she says. Koro stirs hopefully. If I wanted him dead by sundown and the entire structure looted by strangers, or aflame. She arches a cold eyebrow. Alternately, I could hire someone competent. Koro sags. Oh, poor Koro. Besides, I can reopen the structure. The concern is what's waiting for me inside. She holds your gaze for a moment to make sure you understand. I want you to deal with whatever's gone wrong in there so I can resume my work. Needless to say, I would also prefer the structure in an undamaged state as I left it. She smooths her robes. Well, there it is. Will you help? Yes.
I'm making a note.
Excellent, she says briskly, but relief flashes across her face. She hands you a metallic stalk with flower-like ridges along its length and a mechanical eye at one end. Not creepy at all. Bloop. This metallic flower-like device consists of a short metal stalk. Yeah, that's pretty much... dismiss that. This, as you likely know, is the eye of a Mlox. I don't know that, and how I originally accessed the structure. The fact that the lazaret recognizes this organ as an authorized user implies that its builders were machine intelligences. Maybe a machine civilization from before the dawn of the ninth world. She smiles, brushing off her hands. Well, on your way. Do watch your step in the reef. It can be quite dangerous. Please, Salamari, Koro says, edging in beside you. Give me another chance. I can handle this. Let him try, Salamari. Why not? He shoots you a mistrustful glance, but otherwise continues pretending you don't exist. I'll bet he's joining my party. She says, looking between the two of you. Salamari considers you both, then sorts through her work table, picking up a metallic eye. You're welcome to try, Koro, she says. She hands the eye over, but holds onto it when he tries to take it. This is your last chance, she says. If you come back empty-handed, you had better be dead as well. Trembling, Koro pockets the eye and leaves, eyes downcast. So now, I guess he's not going to join my party. I'm just going to have to go and track him down. She watches him go and sighs. He's going to fail, of course. It's what he does best. What do you do here, anyway? I study the ruins and remnants of past worlds, she says, when I have time, of course. These days, the Order spends more of its time helping the city than on its own research. Still laboring under lesser minds, dear, Callistegi says, running the edge of her thumb along a nail. I've never understood how you put up with it. It's quite simple, Salamari says with brittle humor. They pay. That helps a great deal. Will you be staying with us for long this time? I think not, Callistegi says, letting her hand fall. Busy times ahead, I'm afraid. I'm out. I should probably stop saying I'm out. Because you guys don't care.
Of course.
Alright, a small wireframe pyramid sits on the base of polished wood. Lying inside the pyramid is a dull sphere of silverish metal. Examine the sphere. Suspended in its wire cage, the sphere is almost perfectly sized to fit in your palm. The gaps in the wiry mesh are large enough for you to reach through, though not large enough to pull the sphere out. Examine the frame. The frame appears to be fixed firmly in place. It's constructed of an organic material grown in a manner similar to bone or coral. Thinner, vein-like strands of the material wind across each of the triangular sides. Something strikes you as odd about it, but you can't quite determine why. Perception. Try to see what seems odd about the frame. Ow. She has more. She starts at 45%. 65. Yep. So that's one of the other things. In certain situations, you can actually have, like, pass it off to your other companions, and they can spend points instead of you, if you're low, or sometimes they just have a better starting chance of being able to succeed at whatever it is that you're trying to do. While examining the frame, you try nudging it gently, and it shifts in a most peculiar manner. You focus on moving the frame in various directions, and discover that it can be easily lifted straight up off the base and lowered back down onto it, but it refuses to move laterally, even while being held in midair. Touch the sphere. As you extend your hand toward the sphere, the thinner strands along the front side of the cage react toward the thicker frame edges, creating an opening large enough for the sphere to fit through. I will take the sphere. You pull the sphere out of the frame through the opening facing you, and it immediately begins to glow a scintillating blue. You pause a moment to make sure there are no other effects, then try to put it with the rest of your belongings. At some point during this motion, the sphere simply vanishes, only to reappear within the frame once again a dull gray. Apparently taking the sphere will not be quite so easy. Examine the base. The base appears to be made from a slab of lurid red stone. On closer inspection, you recognize it as a petrified wood of some kind. An inscription has been written on the base in front of the pyramid. Examine the inscription. The inscription is in an alien language. It has been burned into the wood and then filled with a luminous substance. Though you haven't seen the language in your own short life as a cast-off, it still seems familiar. Try to recall where I've seen the language before. So, anamnesis, however you pronounce this word. Oh, sorry, I just saw your tweet. Thank you, Laser Bang Bang. Uh, I appreciate you popping in. Enjoy work. Thank you. All right, so anamnesis. That's basically I have the ability to sometimes reach into the memories of previous cast-offs and remember things. Uh, mm, all right, so I have two left right now. if I spend one, I can be up to 65% successful. I can't win every time. There we go. Success! A distant memory surfaces. You're standing before a large metal cylinder that looms a meter or two above your head. The cylinder is a time capsule of sorts, and you're convinced that what lies within is crucial to your latest experiments. The problem, alas, is that the capsule is locked, and the only clue to opening it is a series of strange glyphs etched into its sides. Glancing around, you see dusty tomes, faded banners, metal scraps, and dozens of other objects, all featuring the same strange glyphs. You've spent a lifetime collecting every trace of this language that could be found, and decades of study have finally led to this moment. You look upon the glyphs, and you know their meaning. Stepping forward, you reach forward toward the cylinder as prescribed by the etchings, and it flares to life. Shaking off the memory, you look down at the inscription and realize that its meaning is now clear. The crimson dawn greets the seeker. The violet dusk sees search's end. Take the sphere again. You pull the sphere out again, and once again it glows a brilliant blue before disappearing and returning to the frame. After a little experimentation, you discover that the sphere's position seems to reset whenever it moves beyond a particular distance from the device. As long as you keep it within that distance, as you are now, you can hold on to it. Take the entire device with me. The device is far too bulky to carry around with you. As if reading your thoughts, Min looks over and shakes his head sadly while muttering something under his breath. Put the sphere back in the frame. As you place the sphere back in the frame, it changes to a vibrant orange color. It occurs to you that the sphere seems to respond to moving through the frame boundaries. Perhaps moving it through the other sides will produce additional results. Alright. I'm getting, it's almost 11:30. I'm getting close to having to shut down. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go through this conversation tree, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it. I know this was not an action-packed play of this game, but these games just take a long time, man. That's just what they do, especially if you're a jackass and you read all the text. Alright, so taking it via the front opening, the sphere deepens to a violet hue. Read the inscription again. There's a clue there. The crimson dawn greets the seeker, the violet dusk sees search's end. So the front opening turns it to a violet hue. Left opening to a deep violet. The right opening, dull orange. Then to a green. Yellow. Okay. So, aha! Here it is. So we have to go through Roy G. Biv. Let's see. So, okay. Red. Nope. So, let's see. Nope. Left. Front. Nope. Back. Blue. No. God damn it. Yellow. Indigo. Yellow. Indigo. Front? No. Front. Left. Okay. Left. Front. Back? No. Ah, that's frustrating. Okay. Alright. Turn. Yeah. Right. Now. Bottom? No. God damn it. Left. Front. Bottom. Right. No. Left. Front. Bottom. Back. Yeah. Right. No. Left. Orange. Yellow. Back. No. Green. Oh. God damn it. Alright.
Of course.
Let's try this one more time. Left. Front. Front. Nope. Alright. I can't take it. I can't. Ooh, these kind of puzzles sometimes just I can't brain around it. So I'm gonna try it again next time. Uh, so let's. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Save my game. Run this one. Overwrite. I'm being very professional and just have one save for everything. Yes, now I want to exit. Anyway, that was part 4 of Torment Tides of Numenera. Thank you guys for putting up with my bullshit tonight. It's been fun. It's been fun managing to get like multiple streams through where I'm actually like playing a game and talking as opposed to my regular D&D stream. But if you're actually interested in what I guess I shouldn't say normally do. Most of my streams that I really like pay attention to and think about are my tabletop role playing game streams. We play on Roll20 Tuesday nights at around 7:30. We are usually playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, the Curse of Strahd campaign. We are close, like this far away from being done with it. We could just go and kill the goddamn vampire, but there's a bunch of side quests. So we're gonna clean up the side quest. because apparently that's what you do in D&D is you play it just like you play a computer role-playing game and do a shit ton of side quests. But starting in about 2 weeks, I believe August 6th, that's a Sunday, time to be determined yet. So keep an eye. We're going to be playing a second role-playing game uh, using the Burning Wheel system. I'm sure that if you have watched Adam Coble, you've seen Burning Wheel being played. I'm sure there's a few more Burning Wheel players here on Twitch. It's my favorite game. It's a game I generally feel like I'm good at running. So we're going to be doing that. We've got 4 players. Some of them, if you watch any of my other streams, may be familiar. A couple of them are new to playing in a campaign style game that I'm running. So that's something upcoming. And I'm also going to do some GM prep streams for that game. Hopefully, my goal is to do them Wednesday nights. You can see them on the schedule that I keep on my channel page. That obviously could change, and it could be with Burning Wheel. You don't necessarily have to prep like an adventure every session, so it's possible that there won't be an actual GM prep, just maybe talking about the game or whatever. And anyway, in any case, sorry, that's should be on Wednesday nights. And if you're interested in anything else I do, you can look right here in this little corner. And those are all the places you can find me on the internet. Twitter is the most easiest place to get a hold of me. And pay attention, especially to that naughty little YouTube channel right there. Everything else is SC Hayworth. But YouTube, I forgot the C when I started that, and I haven't been able to change it for whatever reason. So that's the oddball out. But yes, those are the places that you can find me, see, old recordings of these streams, all the games that I play online. Hit me up on Twitter and keep checking me out on Twitch. I will see you guys not tomorrow because tomorrow I have some stuff going on, and it'll probably be maybe Monday when I'm back at this schedule, depending. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all later.